What's up guys, it's SLOTH here, and today we're doing the patch notes review for patch 4.22, Passage to Egypt. This patch comes with quite a few skins, quite a few balance changes, both item-wise and god-wise. We're obviously going to put the focus on the balance changes as usual, but a quick look at the god skins here. We got a new skin for Trinket, kind of Japanese style, whichever anime assassin you want to call it. I think the skin looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, the tail is pretty much animated like normally, like Trinket's tail and not like an actual chain. Plus, apparently this is fan art. I haven't seen the original fan art or like a skin concept. And the original skin concept had like longer hair and a braid, and this one has this short hair. Kind of more down to Trinket's model and the animations that would have been added for the hair. So maybe not quite as some people expected it, but I think it looks pretty cool overall. We got a Gap skin, which exists. I don't know how to feel about the skin. I think it's alright, but it's not that different from the default. Not the biggest fan of it. Then we have a Hachiman skin, very edgy, very dark, black and red theme. Looks pretty cool animation. So overall, I would say I like it. We have a Scylla skin. I don't care much about Scylla, but this skin is amazing. She throws snowballs and everything is kind of icy and it looks really, really cool. Likewise, we have an Agni skin with all frost animations, no blue fire or anything. It's literally all frost animations, every single ability. Pretty cool, and it has an Outcast reference, so that's pretty good as well. And we got the Trinket gold skins. So that's the skin section. Quick look at the voice packs here. As always, if you're using your headphones, turn on the volume a little bit. It can be loud.
Shinobi is the art of stealth.
My kidney stone test came back and I did not pass.
If you look into the face of evil, I will be the one looking back at you.
Like I said, very edgy.
It's not dessert for dinner if you only ever eat ice cream.
Look at all these gods. I bet they've never felt the devastation of an ice age.
I don't know what the Trinket skin is that. That shouldn't have anything. Shadows of Hercules gets its nightmare mode. Unfortunately, no changes to the grindy first part. I honestly don't want to invest that much time into it. If you're fun with it, good luck to you. I thought it was a very well thought out mode, but I just don't want to farm that much. Then we obviously have the Odyssey rewards here, where we have the Trinket skin, the Gap skin, and the Scarab jump skin, jump stamp, sorry. And the Hachiman skin is the reward for getting the sufficient points. And you obviously get the Egyptian quest on top of that. We have a Gap dancing mode, a Hachiman dancing mode. We have a cutesy snowman avatar. We have a winter holiday music theme, and we have Discordia achievements. And that brings us to the balance section, and stuff is getting weird today. So first of all, Warriors Bane and Titans Bane are getting nerfed. This is the important point, to counter the triple warrior meta, triple guardian warrior meta. The reasoning from Hi-Res here is that if we reduce the percentage values of these items, warriors will have to invest into more than one damage item to actually deal damage, because with this, they can go through most protections and deal decent amounts of damage. Thing is, most warriors we see being played in general don't even go for a single damage item. They go full tank. On lower levels of play, yeah, you see percentage pen being built in the build last slot just because they don't trust their teammates enough. But generally speaking, usually you'll mostly see full tank build or like hybrid items. And if anything, warriors are usually better off building flat pen in most situations, depending obviously on the matchup. But because many opponents will not even build into some sort of protection, and they're looking to burst down squishies, or not burst down, like take down squishies, and the brawlers will actually do more for you there. So really, this change more affects the ones fighting tanky targets, especially as Guardians don't use Titans Bane, than those who are tanky. Assassins will have a harder time taking down tankier enemies because Titans Bane is weaker. Hunters will have a harder time if they're building into Titans Bane, though they still have Executioner, which is now way stronger than Titans Bane, as Titans Bane also gets a price increase here, 2,300 instead of 2,150, and decreased penetration by 3%. And that all just kind of works against what the concept of what it's supposed to be like would be. And I don't really see where this is coming from. I'd rather see blanket nerfs to protection and then maybe nerf Titans Bane and Exec along with it, because this also means that towers take longer to take down, which is another buff to the wrong ones, basically. So be it. From there on, we got the magical section being nerfed. Specifically, we got Spellbound Kusari, magical protection reduced from 50 to 40, and Shogun's Kusari 50 to 40. So that's a little more squishy. And the same goes for Voidstone, magical protection from 70 to 60. So these are buffs to mages. So the goal that Hi-Rez has here is buff mages in order to counter tanky targets, even though most mages are burst reliant and burst squishies and not tanks. Most mages, we come to that. In the same sense, Tiny Trinkets is getting a buff, magical power increase from 15 to 20, Lost Artifact gets 15 to 20, and a price reduction from 600 to 550. Soul Trap gets a price reduction by 50, not too major here, and Doom Orb gets major buffs as well. Base power increased from 40 to 60, which is huge for the price. It's a very cheap item, it's a starting point item, basically not a starter item, but an early damage spike, and that gets much more right off the bat. MP5 is increased from 7 to 10, makes it more of a viable pickup, and the mana, the max stacks are decreased from 50 to 40, so you get a little less damage towards the top, but in pretty much any situation, that shouldn't matter because you have more damage to begin with, and just having a few stacks on this item will be so viable right now, will be so valuable right now, so I really don't see where this is coming from, in terms of what it's meant to be. So all these mage items are buffed, and I think the ones that are actually going to shine here are magical ADCs. Kronos, Sol, maybe even Freya are the ones that benefit the most. Freya not so much from the items, but those are the ones who can actually take down tanks because they have consistent damage against tanks. They will have less magical protection facing them, and they will have sufficient tools to actually take down a tank at some point, different from a burst mage in most situations. So I feel like it's not going to happen immediately because most of the pro teams are going to save that strat for a bit down the road, but I'm pretty sure we will see it happen eventually. Soul Eater gets some more changes. Soul Eater, yeah, you know, was beneficial in terms of what it did, but the benefit wasn't there enough, and I was kind of expecting that. So it gets another price reduction from 2,400 to 2,300. The base power is increased from 30 to 40, and the evolve power bonus is reduced from 20 to 10. So it doesn't change in power actually later down the road, but while stacking, you have more power, and you also pay a little less. Puts it more in line with Devos for ability-based hunters. Not quite, but if you remember my comparison, there's more benefit in it now. I might just do another one just to see how well it compares now, but it should be better. And that brings us to the guard changes. First, we're talking about one that actually has lifesteal in his kit already, so he maybe needs that a little less. And that is Fenrir. Oh, you double stack the lifesteal. Fenrir gets a lot of changes. He's performing poorly for some time, Hi-Rez states here, and that's very true. So, we're getting buffs. But the buffs are pretty crazy. So, Unbound Runes no longer affect Seething Howl. That's what I was expecting. Because Seething Howl was always this kind of ability that, you know, you don't really want to use up your runes for that unless you're healing up on a minion wave. And you want to have the rune stacks. And it would be so nice to use it before an engage to get the benefit, but you can't because you have to save the runes for something else. So that's very much a strong buff, even though it's just a small change on paper here in words. It does a lot. Brutalized. Now gains physical and magical protections +5/+1 per level while channeling this ability. That's quite a fair bit. That's quite a fair bit of free extra protections for a god that already gets some extra protections through his ultimate as well. So he has multiple options to even have the protections that other assassins don't have access to, that make him more of a bruiser style character. And that's emphasized now. The thing is that Brutalize often gets interrupted, so, well. Seething Howl. Seething Howl no longer consumes runes from Unbound Runes, as described in Unbound Runes. Increase the physical power buff from 10 to 70 to 20 to 80, so you actually get more power out of this without the runes. And increase the lifesteal buff from 30 to 35%. 80 power is, in many situations, actually 2 items. If you're against a comp that interrupts your Brutalize quickly, like, you know, just like, you won't get much out of it, then you're pretty well off using Seething Howl, engaging with your one, stunning someone, trying to beat them to death, maybe hit one hit of Brutalize, going to Ragnarok, and you have a pretty high kill chance due to the power that you have with that. And then we also have Ragnarok. Adjust damage to be consistent, increased per rank, increased range of the attack from 12 to 15. So that's getting easy to hit. And the other one is just a quality of life. Added cone targeted to this attack to more clearly show this range. If you're playing against Fenrir quite often, you realize that often exactly this tiny range difference is what you need to juke his ultimate. It's this tiny bit. And you will have this tiny bit much less. And he will have a much easier time to land the ult as well because he won't just like bite the air as much. So that is also more scary than many people think. So overall, with Fenrir getting so much at once, I think he will have a comeback. The question is where? Is it gonna be his jungle comeback or is it actually gonna be a solo comeback? Because he has like 2 ways of protections now. He has this quick power buff that allows him to go into more protection instead of opting into power. And the power buff is now like consistent and it's high, you know, reliable ultimate, all this kind of stuff. So maybe we'll see Fenrir somewhere else from where people would expect him. Generally, I think we'll see him probably also in competitive. Probably. Artio gets another round of nerfs. No surprise here. Again, the 2 is not touched. I don't understand why the 2. I understand it's part of the character. Blah, blah, blah. Very important that we don't change that. But obviously, the 2 is the biggest problem. The cripple, the stun, the instant stun. That are the issues. What we get is Energy Surge getting a decreased heal from 60 to 140 down to 40 to 120. So a little bit from the top there, or from the bottom rather. Decreased magical power scaling on Energy Surge heal from 25 to 20%. Even less healing. Life Tap also gets a decreased magical power scaling on the healing from 10% to 5% per tick. So she's not going to have that absolutely ridiculous sustain anymore. Still going to be very sustain E, but much less so than she was before. Shoutouts to the people back in the days who said that Artio release was balanced and I was clickbaiting. How many nerfs has she gone through and is still at the top? Alright, that was petty. Now Chulainn. Berserk reduced the bonus shield from 20 to plus 20 to 24 per level to 10 plus 20 per level. Good change. I think the shield was just always one of the bigger issues, and that's what sets a good and a bad Chulainn player apart, is playing around with the Berserk very well. And if you get the Berserk off in the middle of a team fight, you get the Sun Shield and no one can do anything against it. And the shield was just always a lot. And nerfing that down, I think, is absolutely justifiable. Absolutely well thought through. Now it's still a shield, but it's not nearly as impactful, especially early. Vent Anger. Decreased self move speed from 10% to 5%. Also nice, takes away a fair bit of his chase potential that he had otherwise, because he already has the leap and then he has the extra movement speed. That's going to be less, not a full item anymore, basically. Also forces him to invest into other items, even though Masamune is still pretty good on him. Not any like damage scaling reductions, which I could expect later down the road, just because he has so many damaging abilities compared to others. But overall, good changes. I think this is something going in the right direction. I think Chulainn is getting more in line with other solos slowly, and this is a good step in the right direction. It's 2 nerfs at once, and 2 justifiable nerfs, 2 nerfs that have an impact, and if we maybe see some more of them down the road, he should be put in line. Ymir, Shot of Ice, passive Frostbite is now immediately applied to enemies in the area and refreshed by the detonate. The passive has 2 parts, 100% extra damage on a basic attack and 10% damage reduction. One of this is not affected at all, and that's the extra damage on the basic attack, because before you would pop your ultimate and then at the end you would be able to hit someone afterwards. During the ult you can't hit anyone, so for the damage through the basic attacks, this does literally nothing. The effect would have been applied either way, unless they get out of the ult maybe. The effect that will have an impact is a 10% damage reduction for the attacks against Ymir. I think in most situations you're going to try and jump out of his ultimate. If you're so far ahead that you're going to try and fight him in the ultimate, it's only fair that he gets some reduced damage at least. So I can totally understand this change. What I'm completely missing from this patch is Daji, who has been doing pretty damn well. Maybe next patch, who knows. And Raijin. I also would have hoped for some changes to Shadows over Hercules. Just that early bomb run is just not fun for anyone. But well, that's that, and I think overall, this is not my favorite patch. I think especially the item section here was really strange. God changes were rather good. 2 of the main gods that should have been tackled have been tackled. So patch, but a little bit towards the weaker side, in my eyes. And with that, thank you guys very much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to click that sub button and maybe the bell if you're not subscribed yet. I also drop codes from time to time in the comment section or in the description that you can get that way if you are quick with the notifications. Other than that, see you for the next one tomorrow. Duke Sloth, out.